everyone doing tonight?
I am actually on live right now, and I actually have COVID, so bear with me this week.
Committed. The man is committed, man. I'm glad you're here. Thanks. I appreciate it, VSG. Bestie. Amanda Knight, how are you doing this evening? Leonda, how are you?
Yolanda, what's
Good
happening?
to have you.
How are you, my friend?
Maria, Latanya, thanks for
I'm
joining
gonna
us.
step away. I need to grab something for my throat.
Yeah, do your thing. I'll hold the fort down. Yeah, like the live, and please don't hesitate to share. We can use all the followers and those who can take a benefit to the information and the experience that we are here to share tonight. We got a good one. I'm looking forward to this. We're going to have Dave's Dimes Health hang out with us tonight. And we're going to get his perspective on physical pain, pre-op and post-op. So I'm looking forward to that. Welcome again. Welcome in. Share the live. Tap the screen. Tap, tap, tap. More taps. More people can get in here and grab some good dialogue, good information.
So we get on the For You page tonight, and we can bring in more people to this platform.
Heck yeah. Oh yeah. And like Tony said, a quick reminder, if you haven't already, make sure you are following Talk to Me Barry and join Talk Barry to Me every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Central Time, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern Central Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific every Sunday night, y'all.
Island Girl, thank you for coming.
Island Girl. Jay Kreger, what's happening?
Thank you for the likes. Jojo, thank you for the likes.
D Cortez, how you doing? AG Big Boy, good to see you here. Dave's Dimes Health. I seen him show up. He's here. We'll bring you up in about 7 or so minutes, Dave. We just want to touch base with everyone, give everyone an opportunity to join us tonight. We let everyone know that we're going to be talking about physical pain pre-op and post-op. Thanks for joining us, Anna. Appreciate you being here. Brian, what's happening, my man? What's happening? Good to have you. Jenny, good evening. Nadia, welcome. Thanks for coming in. When you guys get an opportunity, go ahead and share this live with 10 of your friends. Give us a thumbs up after you get that. If you're able to get that done, we'd appreciate it for sure. Home Street Home, what's happening, man? Where's my welcome? I hear you, brother. You always are welcome, my man. It's good to have you all. Bariatric Chris, what's happening, man? I miss you, buddy. Can't wait to see you in October. Looking forward to it. You know, we got a little meetup up there in Niagara in October, so we're going to keep that roll going. Yeah, I noticed you took a week off of TikTok. Rob, I was thinking about you today. I know you got my text just recently, but it's good to have y'all.
Yeah, Rob, let me know what's going on, man. I know we talked a little bit over the weekend. You got any updates? Let me know, brother.
Hey, I just want to make sure that you all know that any questions that we ask on the panel of whoever we have on the guest, yeah, we'll meet for sure, Leonda. That'd be awesome. Whatever questions we have for the guests on the panel are also meant for you if they resonate with you, or you know you can, like I said, resonate with you. Please don't hesitate to participate in the comments. We'll try to answer those questions as much as we can. Wayne, welcome. And if we miss a question, don't hesitate to DM us. DM myself or Tony in the inbox, or you can email us at barrymaleexperience@gmail.com for sure. And we'll definitely get back to you. But first, we just want to apologize ahead of time if we miss any questions or anything in the comments. We have our moderators that are watching the comments and trying to keep us alerted, but we get caught up in conversation and we're unable to get to those questions or comments.
We have a new moderator this week.
Yeah. And shout out to the moderators.
Yes.
We appreciate you all.
Miss Lady Mia, who was just recently added this week. Thank you for becoming a moderator for us and trying to handle comments. VSG Bestie, as always, we love your help.
Absolutely. And we appreciate it for sure. Let's go ahead. It's 8:06. We can get on with, I'd like to go ahead and get Dave up here so we can get started. See what Dave's got to say. Dave's intimidating to me.
I hope you like to talk, Dave, because I don't have time tonight.
Dave's awesome. How you doing, Dave?
Dave, what's happening, brother? Hold on.
Can you hear us okay?
Meet you halfway between t-shirt and dress.
Awesome. I don't know. You were
Wait,
on and on.
Let me see if I can get on Wi-Fi. I think I'm freezing a little bit.
Yeah. You were freezing there for a second.
All right. Is that better? Is that better?
Yeah.
It is now, yeah. Yeah, I don't think the last time we talked on a live was with Can you hear us okay, Dave?
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear us?
You hear me all right?
Yeah. I think the last time we had a live, we talked on live. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear us okay? Yeah.
Yep, all good.
Yeah, I was just saying the last time we had a chance to talk on a live was with Sonia when we first met.
Yeah.
And,
yep.
Man,
yeah, we were on her first one and her third one.
Yeah, and it was like it was the first time we ever talked. That we didn't really get to conversate too much, but I remember your dialogue was intact. I mean, it was well received from my end. But I tell you, your content, man, it really touches us as a community as a whole. I'm not just speaking for myself, man, and we really appreciate you coming on and hanging out with us tonight for sure. So
yeah, and I think the thing that we
very
appreciate
kind of you,
is
my friend, and right back at you guys.
Thanks.
Yeah, you definitely touch on a little bit of everything. You do a little bit of you do a lot of taste testing, just to kind of like, we all try different protein like bars and snacks and stuff. You give a perspective on just your journey alone, just on like mental health and physical health and stuff. So, I mean, you have a good variety. So, I mean, there's a lot to the journey that a lot of people don't share. You have a very well-rounded platform that you keep everyone informed about. So that's awesome, because there's different aspects of the journey that we don't hear about a lot of people.
Yeah.
I
not to
that.
mention.
Okay.
No, go ahead, Dave. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, it's good. It's good to try and share that kind of stuff. It's funny though, because like I had to, especially in those first few months that I was struggling a lot. I didn't want to be overly negative, but then I was thinking, I think too many people think that I don't want to be overly negative, or even like this. I'm happy to be here, and I, want to set the disclaimer of like, I'll talk about pain and stuff, but it's like, there's always this reservation where you're like, you don't want to make it sound like you're complaining, or, there are so many people that, might be in a worse situation or whatever. But on the flip side of that, everybody's experience is valid. And I think that's the biggest problem, is that so many of us think, there's somebody who's worse off than us, or there's somebody, who might be struggling more, so we shouldn't feel our feelings. But all we have is our own experience. So, I appreciate you guys putting this platform on, because I think that's what the Bari Male Experience is all about. You guys aren't saying it's better or worse or more important or less important than anybody else. It's just about being real, like about an experience we're all having.
Absolutely. And while we're on disclaimers, I'd like to let each and every one of you all know that we are not providers, nor are we therapists, and we are not dietitians. We are just bariatric patients who've had the surgery or thinking about it that are sharing our experiences. I don't have a doctorate. With that being said, so I know the things that I know is that you had the sleeve. You're about a little bit over 4 months post-op. Why did you decide to get the surgery?
I had originally considered the surgery back in 2018. I've just been overweight my whole life, and it was something that my doctor brought up. And through Kaiser, it was something that I later found out wasn't as covered as they said it was, but that's neither here nor there. At the time, I went through the entire process. I went through the classes and everything, and I was right there. And I had been misdiagnosed with something that had disqualified me for the sleeve, and I would have had to do the Roux-en-Y instead. And for me personally, at that juncture, I was not nearly as overweight as I ended up being before I got the surgery. And to my wonderful fortune, my health metrics were fine. I didn't have any issues with diabetes or anything. I was just overweight. And so the bypass is so much more intricate of a surgery that I felt like, okay, considering it would almost be just more cosmetic than like a medical necessity at that juncture. Okay. I felt like that wasn't the right decision for me at that time. And I was thinking, okay, I'm going to take this as an opportunity, though, to get, the conversation we've all had a million times with ourselves. I'm going to get serious this time, and I'm going to diet and exercise and all that good stuff. Because there had been a health scare that wasn't actually related to anything, but it was just, And so I was like, okay, now's the time, though. It's a wake-up call, etc. And then I wound up gaining 80, 90 pounds. And I've had that experience throughout my life of, I think we spoke on that in the conversation with Sonia, where it's like, had I, as a high schooler, just accepted the fact that I was 15, 20 pounds overweight and been fine with that, right, I probably would have stayed 15, 20 pounds overweight my whole life. It's all this yo-yo dieting and all this mindset stuff that's just, it sets us all on such a dangerous path. And so, yeah, it just got to a point for me last year. I was, my health numbers did start struggling, and I went on a trip to Hawaii, and there was, before we went on this scuba boat, I'm like, look at me, I'm huge. Is this going to be a thing where I'm not going to be able to fit in scuba gear? And they're like, no, we have everything for all sizes, don't worry about it. And I go out on the boat, and I'm all excited to go scuba diving, and their largest thing is not going to fit me. Yeah. And that humiliation is just, you're already, anytime you're on vacation and you're in a bigger body and you're not fitting in normal chairs and you're not, the airplane seats have gotten insane for anybody of any size at this point. It was all just kind of like, okay, it's gotten too far out of my control, and I've tried too many times to quote unquote do it myself that, I thought to myself, even if Roux-en-Y is my only option, that's okay, because now it is at a point where it's affecting my health and my lifestyle and stuff. So I went through the entire process, and then it turned out that I had been misdiagnosed back then, and I could get the sleeve, which is funny. So I could have ended up getting it 5 years sooner, but it is what it is. Got it now, and on the journey. So that's the backstory.
I remember putting it on hold myself for the same exact reasons, and then my weight would go up and down, or I would work out for 3 months, and I'm like on this voyage, but the weight wasn't coming off fast, and I loved to eat. I kept eating the food that I shouldn't eat, and I just kept putting weight on. And like you said, the older you get, your health starts to deteriorate, so you need to take action. And that's why personally I took the action. Let me ask you, did you have fears? Did you have any fears that held you, that delayed you from getting the surgery?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think initially it wasn't so much fear as it was just, I don't know if it was delusion that you know, I could just turn it on. Because the thing is, there have been 2 situations in my life that I've lost over 100 pounds. So I have had success losing a ton of weight, but then I put it all back on and then some. So I think I always had in the back of my head, you know, if I get serious, I can take it off and keep it off this time. And so when I couldn't do that anymore, like you said, it may have been age, it may have just been one too many times that my body's been through all that stress. You know, then I just kind of realized I can't do this without help. And, you know, you start to, I mean, I read so many books and listened to so many audiobooks and everything. And, you know, so much of this is genetic and so much of this is outside of our control. And people don't always want to hear that because the diet industry is banking on all of us blaming ourselves and blaming our quote unquote failures for not having success. So, you know, I kind of just was ready to accept, hey, I'm going to be big. It is what it is. But then, like I said, once I realized it was a health thing, and I felt like it was time for a change. And I did not have any fear whatsoever leading up to the surgery. And I actually always encourage when I see people in chat talking about how scared they are or they're having second thoughts or whatever pre-surgery, I think that's super normal and super healthy. Yeah, because if you're like me and you're not even thinking about that stuff, you get a pretty big culture shock, or not a culture shock, but a pretty big shock to your system after you have the surgery. And you're like, wait a minute, this was a really big deal. Like I should have at least been, you know, if not scared, certainly nervous and respectful of the big changes that were about to happen.
Right.
What about you guys? Did you guys have fears or anxieties leading up to it, or were you pretty excited about it as well?
I initially had fears. I think it was a lot of the questions as I was going through the process, but I think I had worked up myself all the way to surgery. I was ready to go the day of surgery. They took my blood pressure. They're like, wow, you are amazingly calm for someone who's about to go into surgery. I'm like, I know I need this. I am ready for it. This is about to change my life.
Yeah, and me, I was just so ready because if I didn't get it done, I felt like I was gonna die. Mm-hmm. You know, my mind was made up. It was like either I'm gonna get it, something bad's gonna happen, and I'm not gonna make it through, or I'm gonna get better. And you know, all the issues that I have with sleep apnea, diabetes, and high blood pressure would just go away. So,
Dave, what were the underlying issues that you had going on? That like,
yeah. So I mean, I was, like I said, I hadn't had any for many years, and then just as of last year, I was pre-diabetic, and I got to like 6.3, so it was like right there. And then, yeah, that was the only. I mean, other than the standard comorbidities and just how much. I mean, I was up to 390, so there was just the you know, obesity, but that was the main health concern, was being pre-diabetic. And then I was starting to have like random chest pains, which I think were more panic related than because I was in the middle of a stressful job situation and my mom was in poor health. Having said that, when you're a very big guy and you're having chest pains and or panic attack, you know, anything that's dealing with your chest is not, you know, so I mean, it's just constantly thinking. And to your point, Rabb, it's like, even if this isn't it, it's gonna be it.
Right.
You know, one of these days, if nothing changes.
Exactly.
Yeah. So fortunately for me, yeah, there wasn't anything that was like I have to do this right now, other than all the writing on the wall that, you know, I was obviously going the wrong direction.
I got a question for everyone, Tony and Dave, both of you on the panel, and those of you in the comments. For those of you who've had surgery, were you prepared mentally and emotionally? What do you say, Tony?
In my head, I was prepared emotionally because, again, my journey started pretty much when, I mean, the timeline what Dave's talking about, I was right around 2018, 2019. I had thought about it, talked about it with my doctor, got scared. and then put it off. And then COVID hit, put on another 100 pounds. And I think at that point, my mindset was I need to do something about it, because my health had taken a turn for like even worse at that point. And I think it just, you get that wake up call. And on a vacation, you get the wake up call of like, oh, I'm on a seatbelt extender. Oh, I'm rolling out of bed instead of getting out of bed. Walking around New York City and I'm winded from walking down one block. Like you get that mindset of like, I need to make a change. And we all hit that point. And I think we all hit that point when we've all been there when we wanted to lose weight. We get focused, but now it's along that journey of where you have to stay focused, because you get 10 months, 11 months, a year out. And then I'm like, oh, I've lost all this weight. And then you get complacent. And this is the second part of that journey that a lot of us haven't got to yet. I'm heading towards that now. You guys are on your way to that. It's all right. Now you need to change your mindset of like, all right, I've already lost all that weight. Now I need to get into how do I maintain that weight the rest of my life?
Yeah. Before you answer, Dave, I see a comment. Justice Mufasa says, hard to prepare for something you haven't actually experienced yet. And it's funny, it's so freaking true.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, when you're going to those, you're seeing a psychiatrist, whatnot, and the doctor, and everybody's pumping you up, they make you believe or have you believe that you're prepared, but absolutely, right after you experience it, you find out real quick that maybe you weren't as ready as you thought you were. What about you, Dave?
Yeah, that comment has it spot on. Because yeah, going into it, like I said, I had no fear at all. I had total conviction. And then after I had it, not sure who just said it in the comments, but they said it perfectly. I think it was mentally yes, emotionally no. And so like on surgery day, it was all systems go. But like after like that first week, I just had there was the realism sets in that things are going to be very different. And you're so used to food as a crutch and food as something you lean on so heavily in social situations and whatever else, that like the realization that those days are over. I mean, you're just not going to eat an entire pizza. You're not going to eat all you can eat places. You're not going to be finishing everybody else's plate. And it's like, these things that in that brief moment of time are so enjoyable, and then for the rest of the night you regret and feel physically and emotionally terrible about that moment, though. And so it's you just kind of that it's something you shouldn't worry about. It's like, who cares? Because that was the thing going into the surgery. That was very much my mentality. It's like, who cares? I've had almost 40 years of eating of a lot of food. So what if whatever I'd much rather be healthy and not have food, but like you said, you don't know what you're preparing for, and it's a lot easier said than done. And for me, it wasn't even like I was super like my conviction was great, and that first week or the first few weeks, like even the pureed stage, you've talked about it, Rob, of just kind of chewed things till they were pureed. I committed. I stayed pure. Like I did everything to the letter, and didn't really have any issues. It was really just like it really started to hit me that like I made a couple videos about it. I think that like second month, third month, when I realized how much I disliked eating, just physically and mentally and stuff, and I was realizing like, okay, if eating is going to be this much of a chore for the rest of my life. I don't know. Like now I never got to the point where I was having second thoughts, but I was certainly not happy with my decision, if that makes sense.
Gotcha.
What about you?
I didn't run into. Well, that's where the whole W.T. Barry came from. What the Barry is going on? Instead of saying what the F, it's like, Barry, what have I done? I felt that way initially. Like, I can't believe what I just did. I didn't really feel like they did anything. Buyer's remorse, Shelley, you're right. I had it, maybe for a couple of weeks, but then that went away real quick when the weight started to shred, and I started to feel so much better, man. No more strange pains like you have mentioned in the chest, coming out of nowhere that kind of would set me back and put me in the ED every freaking week because I'm a hypochondriac. So now let's move on to the subject at hand, physical pain. How did your physical activity levels change after surgery, if at all, Dave?
Well, that's been a constant issue for me, and that's been one of the things that has maybe been the hardest part about being on TikTok, because I think, and for good reason, everybody should exercise as much as they can. And I think I loved the way that Tony put it, the very first chat we had with Sonia, where he was saying that exercise can come in so many different forms. Even if you just want to do chair yoga or something, you can always find something within your means. I thought that was so perfectly said. But, there's such a strong emphasis on working out and exercise. And again, for good reason. Those are good things. But it's so different from my experience because I've had this hip pain that was really that I was struggling with, and now I have this back pain that I just went to physical therapy for today and got some new stretches, and I'm working through it. But it's tricky because I dealt with chronic pain in the past, and when you have something that, again, I feel, I want to say to everybody again, I don't want to sound like I'm complaining too much. I understand it's not the end of the world. I'm very lucky that I have the mobility and whatnot that I do. But even if you have a pebble in your shoe for 2 years, it's always there. And so some days I'm lucky it's a 1 or a 2, other days it's a 3 or a 4. Occasionally it's worse, but constant pain, even if it's not the biggest pain, is very mentally draining. And the problem that I've had is I want to exercise, and I can go through some of these in the past, but I've had issues where I've done something very simple, like just gone for a walk or something, that has sparked an injury that has cost me years of pain in just my everyday life. And so I have this constant issue of I know I need to move and I know I need to exercise, but I'm scared. I'm scared of making the injury worse. And it's I keep having these stalls, and I know that being more active could help, but I also know that being more active could take this pain from a 2 or a 3 to a 5 or a 6 or a 7 or an 8. I've had that happen before, and I'll be damned if I'm going to, be that much worse off every minute of every day. So, it's a constant mental struggle of trying to decide how much I want to push it, how much I want to risk it.
What do your doctors and physical therapists say? Do they say to try to push through things, or do they give you certain things to do?
Yeah, so the first one I had, pre-surgery I didn't have any issues. I had them in the past, but pre-surgery I was relatively fine. And then post-surgery, I was doing my daily walks, just about 5-10 minutes a day, or 5-10 minutes every couple hours, just, for the gas pains and for making sure there were no blood clots. So I wasn't having too much of an issue with that. And then around the 7th, 8th, 9th day after surgery, I went for a longer walk. It wasn't anything too crazy, but just a 15-minute walk or so messed up my hip really badly. And it was my quad muscle that was just flared up and hurt to the point that it was very difficult to walk at all. And so I went to physical therapy for that, and he diagnosed that it was a hip issue. He checked a bunch of things with my strength was very weak. And so he was saying, yes, it's presenting in my quad, but it's actually my hip. And so he gave me a bunch of stretches to do. And so I rehabbed that for months, and that worked. I got it to a point where it was doing a lot better. And it feels like a joke, but it's almost the day that was better, something tweaked in my back, and now that's been out of whack for 3 weeks. And so I set up a physical therapy appointment with the same guy because he did a good job with my leg, and he just gave me a bunch of exercises, so I'm going to start rehabbing that. So to answer your question, he has kind of said, you have to let the pain dictate, you shouldn't quote unquote push through it. You kind of need to like it's best to do stretches and work on these things and then try and build up slowly with like walking, for example, 15-20 minutes, and if you do that without pain, then keep adding more. But I never get to the add more part because something else has come up so far.
Did you ever get the that full body scan that you were talking about? I guess they were you said when you went to your physical therapist or doctor, they were gonna have you do a full
So yeah,
scan.
so well, not so much a full scan. So what happened
Yeah.
today, and what I talked to I had followed up with my bariatric nurse, and she was saying that what they find is that some people, after they lose a lot of weight, get a lot of pain relief out of that, and then other people have new pains because in addition to losing fat, you're also losing muscle, and there can be a strength issue. And so that actually is what, I went in today and I was telling him how much my back hurt, and he had me do a bunch of twists and turns and everything. And he was saying it's not so much your back, it's actually your rib cage. Like the back of my, the back of my rib is actually where a lot of the problem is. And a lot of that is core strength and posture stuff. And so, I've been doing all these stretches for my back that weren't, I thought it was like my shoulders, but this goes to show, by the way, if you can get into physical therapy, if you have pain, go to a professional. Don't try and figure it out on YouTube because I'm stretching out the wrong things and potentially making it worse, just trying to get some relief. But yeah, so it turns out it's my ribs. And so that was kind of my thing was, it's not so much a scan as it is, I went in and kind of told him like, hey, yes, I have this back pain and that's priority number one, getting rid of this, but can you give me some kind of a full body strengthening routine or something so that I can, be doing stretch, like hopefully get to a point where I can improve my strength or improve my flexibility. So I'm not, walking threat for a new chronic injury every time I get out of bed.
Right.
And so he said, the report I just got was basically like, let's address this first and, and then we'll go from there. So at least now I have a new set of, targeted stretches to do, which is another form of exercise. So I'm happy about that. But, that's been the frustration is just like, I don't want to take things into my own hands and push it too hard. But at the other hand, I don't want to do nothing. So now at least I have some guidance.
And it's a journey, and everyone's journey, like it's amazing. Like you see this stuff, and I mean, I hear people. I think I've been on here for almost a year now, and to hear the amount of stories where I hear people talk about all the struggles, and this is why I'm glad you're documenting all of this, like on your platform, because it gives me hope that a year from now, like, and things begin to improve for you, you have something to go back and be like, look how far I've come. So that, I mean, and that's my hope for you is that this is where you're going to push through and you're going to find what works for you, and you're going to find that strength, and you're going to build that core back up where you're actually going to feel better. So
yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking I was probably going to do a video on it soon, but I was thinking that the other day, like I got on the scale and I put on a little weight. So it's been about probably 10 days since I've lost weight. And I was thinking like, and I don't actually feel this way, but in the moment I was just like, I guess my weight loss journey's over. Like I think people who have had a stall can probably relate to that, where you just have this feeling of, well, I guess that's it. And hey, it was a good run. I lost 80 pounds. Like that's not so bad. The new Dave isn't that bad. But I have to remind myself, to your point, it's like so many people have their ups and downs and struggles, and I'm only 4 months into this thing, so
That's it.
It's crazy because when I had that follow-up appointment, I've been feeling so much like, and I say this again, nobody should compare anything, but I'm just keeping it real with everybody. It's like, I felt so much like a failure because you see so many people having so much success. And again, you definitely can't compare yourself to people who are different sizes, whatever, but you see like another dude that's like the exact same weight as you, who had surgery the same week as you, and that guy lost 50 more pounds than you. That's like, as a human being, it's hard not to make that comparison, right? But I spoke to my this nurse, and she was saying like, you've lost like 35% or 40% of your excess body weight, like you're ahead of schedule for 4 months. Like we want
4 months.
to see 60% or in a year, and you're there in 4 months. And so it's nice to get that confirmation, but it's just funny how our perception of how we're doing is so much different than how we're actually doing. And that's not a numbers thing either. That's just no, I feel like no matter how we're doing, we'll feel like it's not enough, or that it could be better.
Critics, and we always will be. And it's that mindset that we've always had. And it's one of those things, again, it's a mental thing that we need to really retrain our brains and give ourselves a lot more grace. I mean, it's not an easy journey, but we have to be forgiving to ourselves, and to allow us that little bit of grace where it's like, you know what? All right, this happened. Let's refocus, or you know what? It's just a little thing. Let's rebound from this, and we know that we can go this much further.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah. Real quick, just for those of you in the comments and that are on this panel, just a quick reminder that we are not doctors, nor are we dietitians, and we are not therapists. We're merely just bariatric patients that had a surgery that are sharing our experiences. Thank you. Real quick, I love to say that. I don't know why, but
it's good to say. It's good to say. It's a worthwhile reminder.
Right.
Especially considering how many fake doctors there are out there. It's good to say, by the way, we aren't those.
No, we're not those either.
We're not fake doctors or real doctors. We're just guys.
Let me see. I remind myself all the time I'm a slow loser, but I'm a loser in a good way. All right. That's what's up.
Well said.
Love that one.
I want everyone in the chat real quick. I'm going to catch Dave off guard with this one. Dave is about 80 pounds down, 65 pounds down since surgery. He says it's a little bit easier to look in the mirror, but he still sees a really big guy. Man, that it really puts into perspective like what you just said about it being difficult to accept that your journey is working. You're headed in the right direction. It has only been 4 months. I remember 3-4 months. I was like, okay, I'm losing weight. I feel good, but I mean, we had completely different surgeries. I had the RNY, but it came off relatively quickly. And as you can see in the comments, man, that's a huge achievement. And I think it's just, correct me if I'm wrong, but I go through it too. And like many others in the community, we have a really hard time finding a way to love ourselves because we didn't accept ourselves and we weren't accepted in society for so many years. And I'm not talking 6 months, 3 months. I'm talking about, for me, 35 years, 40 years. I've been obese. I haven't been accepted. I never fit in. The only way I could fit in is if I make someone laugh, if I giggled my way into, acceptance. If I did something stupid like, belly flop in a pool or something like that, or make fun of myself. It really resonates, the pain that we go through each day with this surgery, that it's not only just physically, it's also mentally. Um, did you have any certain expectations regarding pain relief? Do you feel like you were led um, to believe that things were just going to change overnight, or what is your thought on that?
One of those things where even if you know something isn't necessarily true if you hear it enough times. It's one of those things where it's like, am I the crazy one or is everybody else crazy? And there's only so many times that you can go to a doctor with a legitimate concern about your pain and be told, lose weight then. I mean, nothing, it did not, like, regardless of what type of pain it was, how long the pain was, how I sustained the injury. Well, if you weren't so fat, it wouldn't be a problem, and it's like,
basically,
I get it. Like, again, from a scientific perspective, they're not wrong. Carrying an extra 150 pounds or whatever can't be good for your joints or whatever injury I'm suffering from that day. Mm-hmm. But, you feel like, again, they're just saying it to say it practically. But, you do start, it's like, okay, well, I guess I deserve all the pain that I have because I'm overweight. And so, yeah, it's not so much that I was promised anything or expected, but yeah, it's kind of like, well, wait a minute. I thought that I had back pain because I was fat. I thought I had leg pain because I was fat. I thought I had this plantar fasciitis on my foot, which, by the way, fit runners get because I was fat. So, and again, I'm still fat, but explain to me why things are not better. Theoretically, this 80 pounds less that I'm carrying should be manifesting itself in 80 pounds less of pain, right? Oh, shockingly, it's not. So yeah, to your point, I mean, you do kind of get sold that everything's better, everything will be better when you lose weight, and that's certainly not necessarily the case.
One thing is for sure that I can say, and I mean, it is what it is, but when you lose the weight, they can finally see. Mm-hmm. The providers can finally see. And like for me personally, when I was, 328 was my heaviest. So when I would go into the emergency room every week because I thought I was having a heart attack, they would hit me with the whole, oh, you need a better diet and drink more fluids, all this stuff about, what I need to do with my health, in short, you're a fat ass, so lose the weight. And then now I've lost it. Now they can see. So I mean, that's a positive. The more weight you lose, they can't run across that excuse anymore. So I think it's, a good thing. It's a positive, if anything. Dave, what advice would you give to someone who is considering bariatric surgery?
What advice would I give somebody who's considering bariatric surgery? I mean, just I'm still an advocate for it. I do think, again, I think there's enough evidence to show how much of this is genetic. And of course, with the way fast food and society is, a lot of that plays a role too. Of course, situation. And, it's tricky because it's tough to balance like personal responsibility versus, because when I talk about genetics and whatnot, I think some people have this visceral response because you want to blame yourself, right? Like I always do. It's like because you've been told your whole life it's your fault for eating too much or not working out or whatever. So it's like you have this visceral response of like, no, that's not true. It's, but then on the flip side, you don't want to just say, oh, it's all genetics, I don't take any responsibility. So it's a tough balance to strike. But at the end of the day, if diet and exercise worked, there would be a lot fewer obese people. I mean, period. There's just so many people that are heavy doctors and lawyers and people who work 60 hours a week, and you're telling me they're lazy? Right. Because that's the thing, right? Fat people are lazy. So, explain to me how they went through all that schooling and how they work their asses off. Mothers of 4 or 5 kids that run around taking their, kids everywhere and putting food on the table and taking care of the family, they're lazy? Yeah, I don't think so. So, I think it at its core, however much you want to blame yourself or however much we all could do better, whatever the case may be, it is a genetic, systematic thing that I think for most of us, this is the help we need to, make these changes and to get healthier. And so be prepared for it to be a lot harder than you might think it is, or that it might be made out to be on social media. But if you're ready to make that change, I do think it's a worthwhile change. Because, I mean, you have to invest in yourself, you have to invest in your health. And I think for most of us, it's not even the last option, it's the best option for many of us.
I hear you. So we got about 15 minutes left of this live. I'd like to start turning into the comments and start engaging with those in the comments. And the first one that came up while you were answering that question about, advice, would you suggest considering bariatric surgery to anyone, or what advice that would be? Someone had made, Dean Pridemore says, is it possible maybe we just destroyed our joints over the last 20 years carrying the extra weight?
Sure. I mean, that's the thing.
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, I in no way, shape, or form am saying it's not the weight. I'm definitely
Right.
not one of those people. It's more of the thing of like a doctor just telling you every single time you go in for a problem, hey, buddy, lose weight. I'm not even saying that's bad advice. I'm just saying you think that somebody who is 400 pounds has not heard yet. Like, do you think does this doctor think they're the one breaking the news to me?
Right.
Oh
Right.
shit, I'm overweight. Oh damn. Okay, I'll start tomorrow. My bad, I didn't know. It's
Right.
like, okay, cool. You got that out of your system. If you have any recommendations on how I should do that, great. We'll have that conversation. Now that we've covered that, is there anything you can do for me as far as like, that's what I love about this physical therapist. He hasn't once brought up, hey, what are you eating? What are you? He's like, here's the muscle group that's in pain. When I do this pushback, you only have this much strength. This claw exercise will build strength. Cool. I'm sure he knows if I lose another 100 pounds, that's going to help me. I know that too. But let's focus on the issue. And that's what
Right.
you were talking about earlier. It's like, hey, be seen, and I think that's all most people want, is like not to pretend like the weight isn't a factor. Of course it's a factor. It's probably maybe the biggest factor, but the weight is what it is for today. Help me with my problem. And I've literally just been sent away or told, just take really strong drugs. It's like, okay, so lose weight and take drugs. Thanks. What would you tell somebody that was in better shape? Would you tell them to try stretching, or would you tell them to, that's all any of us really want at the end of the day is a fair shake, right?
That's
So
right.
yeah, I'm right there with you, 100%. I take full responsibility. I mean, a lot of my problems have probably been caused by my weight, but they're still problems that deserve a solution.
Right. Absolutely. If anyone in the comments has any questions, please don't hesitate to ask them now. We're trying to engage as much as we can with your comments and questions. I know Dave had made a post here recently over the past couple of days. It was titled Bariatric Health. And what is AMA? What's the AMA stand for?
Ask me anything.
Ask me anything. So if you're not following Dave Dimes Health, make sure you're following Dave. He has plenty of advice, just advice. He's not a doctor, we're not therapists, and we are not dietitians, but just, he has experience with what he's going through that he can share, and maybe what he can what he has to suggest, or experiences that he has to share, and like Tony and myself, maybe it resonates with you. If there's anything that you would like to share with us, please do so in the comments, or like I said, DM us. I'm sure Dave is open to DMs just as much as we are. Anything we can do to help soothe your thoughts, or your mind, to help cope with certain uh, situations that you may be going through, for sure. Don't hesitate to DM us. And again, you can DM us at you can email us at barrymaleexperience@gmail.com as well. So
So
if we've
Jay
missed
Kreger
any.
had a question in there asking if any of us have had kidney stones since surgery.
Ooh.
My kidney stone issue is actually cleared up since surgery.
I haven't had kidney stones since 1995. but I don't want them ever again. So no, I have not.
That was something that I was starting to experience before surgery. Again, the underlying health issues that were starting to build up, and all of a sudden I was starting to get kidney stones, and those were the worst things that I have ever dealt with.
I've never done anything. So knock on wood a bunch of times.
Yes.
Keep that going. I hope to go undefeated.
Have you done anything to keep them away, or?
It's just the change of my diet. I don't know if it has to be the change of my diet, because it like instantly disappeared after surgery.
Thank everybody. By the way, sorry I'm not responding to all the. I appreciate all the comments. I'm reading them. I'm just not. I would love to hijack. I'd be like, hey, BME, y'all are dope, but I'm just going to talk to all these people saying nice things about me. But I do see all your comments, and also I just want to say, can we get everybody in the chat a round of applause for these two gentlemen and the show they put on?
Thanks, y'all.
Listen, this is what I want to say. Like, my thing with content, I appreciate that it resonates with a bunch of y'all. Like, my thing is, like, I see so many people, and they do it 10 times better than I could even if I wanted to. Like, the motivational content on here is so fantastic. There are so many people that are like, they're just so damn good at it, and I love that. Like, I love that that is available, and I love how uplifting this community is. It's like, like, my thing is, like, I want to give a voice, not in a negative way, but it's like I just want to give a voice to people that are depressed and are struggling. And so that's why, you know, when I have like an Ask Anything, you know, I sometimes it's like all I want to do at this point, I don't even care about content creation or blowing up the channel or anything. I just want to give back and like help people feel heard, because I feel like you guys can relate to this too. Every time you hop on one of these, you just have a bunch of folks in here that just want to be heard and just, you know, want to like say, hey, like, I'm struggling with this, or I'm feeling this, and I don't know if that's normal. Because you go on social media and, you know, to no detriment to anybody, I'm not judging anybody, most people want to put their best foot forward, you know, and so not only do I appreciate the platform y'all give, but the content you guys put out. I mean, you know, you guys are both also vulnerable and just kind of saying like, hey, you know, like, here's where I'm at right now, or here's what I'm struggling for right now, or even Tony, just lately, you've just been like, hey, this is just taking the stairs. It's not sexy. It's not a cool like jump beat. It's just, these are the mundane little things we got to do to be a little better each day, you know. So it's like
everyday life.
You all do really good stuff.
There's a question there for you, Dave, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Christine says, Dave, aside from protein products and portion sizes, what has been your biggest dietary change?
My biggest dietary change, you know, I think I'm going to do a video on this soon, you know, because I've seen some different debates on people talking about, you know, fast food and things like that. And like, I'm a big proponent of like, this has to be a lifelong thing. The changes we make have to be lifelong. And I feel like depriving yourself of certain things, because at one point I went 5 years without fast food. I had this bet with my brother. I didn't have fast food for 5 years. I didn't lose anything during that 5 years. You know why? Because I found little loopholes to eat unhealthy foods in other ways. And I think if your mind is like, I need a cheeseburger, and again, this is not advice for everybody. If you can avoid all unhealthy stuff, please do. Like, you're going to be way better off than me. But I'm saying, like, if you have a hankering for a cheeseburger, I'd rather you just have a couple bites of a cheeseburger and enjoy those couple of bites and then move on, than spend weeks skirting around that and being in a like rough mental place and not finding the right thing, and then maybe overeating too much of other things. And so like, for me, honestly, the biggest change is to just be able to guilt-free eat something and just eat a little bit of it, and that's all I need now. Yeah. Like, I'll go to Costco and I'll get myself a piece of pizza and a hot dog. I'm not eating all that. But I have a couple bites of the hot dog and a couple bites of pizza, and yeah, I feel like crap. I shouldn't have done that, or I could have made better choices. It's not something I would do every day. It's not something I would recommend. But I was in the mood for it that day. I can enjoy 3 or 4 bites of it, and I'm good now. And that's the biggest blessing of this surgery, because those 2 things would have been gone, and that was a snack, not a meal. That's just before I go grab some fast food on the way home. That to me, just having the power to say, you know what, I'm in the mood for something, I'm gonna have it, and then I'm gonna throw away what I don't eat.
I would have rolled.
It's so powerful to me.
You need to kill that craving, and sometimes all you need is that 1 or 2 or 3 bites or something. That's it.
And then you realize you realize that's the thing. It used to take, you have it, and then you're like, you crush the whole thing, and you're like, oh, maybe I didn't need that.
Yeah.
Now you have a bite or 2, and you're like, maybe I didn't need that. And now, great, cool. It was just 2 bites. Chuck it.
And leave it to Tony to be like, you gotta kill the craving. I tell you what, though, man, I would have took that hot dog and rolled it up in that piece of pizza and ate the whole.
I may or may not have dabbled in some Frankensteining. I may or may not. We have no comment at this time. I'm going to check with my lawyers. I'm going to check with my legal team on whether we can comment. But at this point, we have no comments on combining those food groups. No comment.
Man, we make it happen. We make it happen.
Right.
I tell you what, it almost is just as good just to look at it and just imagine what it tastes like than anything. So that suits me fine. What were you going to say, Tony?
And then thinking about how it makes you feel after and saying, I can skip it and just enjoy the mental picture. That's true, too.
Exactly.
For the sake of time, because we got about 4 minutes left, we are going to talk about what we have going on next week. So next week, we have something very special. This is going to be the first time we're ever, for this live, going to have an open panel. And we are actually having a Super Bowl show.
Super Bowl.
We want people to come up, talk about their favorite Super Bowl memories, the teams that they love. If you guys want to talk smack about the Patriots, go right ahead. I had 20 years of pure glory. Ain't that right, Rabb, and your Steelers? If you want to come up and talk smack, we can come up and talk smack. So
hey, you got the Falcons former head coach as your OC. That should fix everything.
Yeah,
I'm okay. They drove themselves into the ground, so I'm right back to loving that 1-15 season coming up soon, or whatever, 1-16.
No, Tomlin will get them to exactly 9-8 again. They'll be all right.
Yeah. Of course, Tracy likes the Cowboys. Of course,
you guys. We want to talk about obviously what are you preparing for the Super Bowl? What is going to be different about this year? What are you preparing differently? Are there bariatric snacks that you're going to either bring to a Super Bowl party or you're going to prepare for a Super Bowl party? Bring your ideas. We're going to talk about all types of fun stuff of football. So it's going to be a very laid back and relaxed live. I'm really excited about hearing everyone's favorite Super Bowl stuff and football stories.
Yeah, and I'm super excited that Dave, you joined us tonight. Thanks for taking the time to do so. We really appreciate you taking
Thanks
the time.
for having me.
We hope to have you back.
I look forward to seeing more about your journey, and I know that I'm going to start seeing things change for you because I feel like I've had a similar journey with you.
Even when you were talking about the 2018 to through pandemic, it sounds very aligned.
I had plantar fasciitis. I no longer have it. The back pain has subsided, the more I've strengthened my core. I think you're going to get there. It's just you're not at that point of your journey yet.
Yeah, so, well, I appreciate that, and you're an inspiration to us, and you both are an inspiration to all of us. So once again, thanks for having me. Thanks for what you're doing. And this won't be the last time. That'll be a shame.
Up or hit any of us up. Talk. You need to talk. You let us know. We'll talk, man.
And that goes for you all in the comments as well. We appreciate you all so much in the chat. We've hit 40,000 likes. Clap it up, clap it up, clap it up. Thank you so much. Make sure that you tune on every Sunday for Talk Bari to Me with VSG Bestie at 8 p.m. Eastern Central Time, 7 Central, 6 Mountain, and 5 Pacific. We look forward to seeing you all next week for the Super Bowl party. Thanks for coming out to hang out with us. God bless, peace, and soul love and soul. Good night.